Today, therefore, I'm calling on President Trump to abandon his lawsuit seeking to strike down the Affordable Care Act. Instead, the president should urge the 14 states who have refused to expand Medicaid to do so. Last Thursday, Pope Francis offered the world this prayer: enlighten those responsible for the common good so that they might know how to care for those entrusted to their responsibility. Today, House Democrats are unveiling the Take Responsibility for Workers and Families Act, a bill that takes responsibility for the health, wages, and well-being of America's workers. Democrats take responsibility for our workers. We require that any corporation that takes taxpayer dollars must protect their workers' wages and benefits, not CEO pay, stock buybacks, or layoffs. We strengthen unemployment insurance so that it can replace the average wages of our workers who are losing their jobs and hours. For our small businesses, we provide fast relief with grants and loans to tide them through this crisis. For our doctors, nurses, healthcare workers, and first responders in hospitals and other health institutions, we provide desperately needed funds to care for those who are sick and to ensure that our providers have personal protective equipment, PPE, that they need. We protect our healthcare workers by requiring the administration to enforce our stronger OSHA protections. For our families, we give direct payments to America's families in a robust way and strengthen the child tax credits and the earned income tax credit. We give more workers the security of guaranteed paid family and medical leave, including those caring for our seniors. And we make the coronavirus treatment free for the patient. For our students, we provide emergency funds for our schools and universities. We help current borrowers with their student debt burden and the GI Bill benefits. We bolster SNAP and other initiatives to address food insecurity. For our democracy, we ensure that states can carry out this year's election and require early voting and vote by mail. I'm grateful to our committee chairs and members for their extraordinary leadership and work for America's workers and families. The Senate Republican bill put corporations first, but because of the insistence of Leader Chuck Schumer and Senate Democrats, progress has been made. We urge the Senate to move closer to the values in the Take Responsibility for Workers and Families Act. We must be bold and forward-looking in our thinking. We must be swift and evidence-based in our actions, and we must be prayerful. God bless the families of those who've lost loved ones and those fighting this terrible illness now. God bless our nurses, doctors, first responders, and men and women in uniform. God bless the men and women in our factories making medical supplies, cars, all of it, and those keeping our grocery shelves stocked with food. God bless the scientists racing to find a cure. God bless all of you, and may God always bless America. Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Speaker Pelosi, just wrapping up. Garrett Haake, let's go back to you. Take us inside the politics here. How about this?
Sure.
What was the point of that?
Well, this is an opportunity for Democrats to show what their priorities are in this crisis, given the absence of a compromise bill in the Senate. Pelosi said a couple days ago that the House would offer its own alternative when she wasn't satisfied with what was being discussed on the Senate side. There you saw her lay some of it out. The House is not in session right now. The House could not vote on this bill tomorrow or probably the next day or the next day, even if they wanted to. And I think what you're seeing here is Democrats believe they have leverage here. Republicans don't even have 50 votes in the Senate, where they are in the majority right now because some of their members are quarantined. They are trying to find their way through a solution, and Democrats believe they have some political leverage here to control the response here in the way they would like to see it performed and to get some of their priorities across the finish line. There is a political danger of overreaching here, and I think that's what you're seeing play out on the Senate floor, where Democrats are being criticized for things like including cancellation of student debt, which you could argue is not a part of the coronavirus crisis. Things like you heard the speaker there talk about election security and vote by mail, which is a very interesting issue for all of us who've been covering the connection between the virus and electoral politics, but arguably not an urgent crisis in March. And so I think this is the line the Democrats are going to be walking here is, do they press their political advantage as they see it to get the most favorable terms possible out of a Senate bill, or do they press too far and risk being blamed by the public for slowing down a bill that is widely agreed to be urgently needed out in the rest of the country?
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.